many years. She didn't have a late notice. Things that she has said and written down. I'm going to read to you, and Mark is going to show some pictures and slides in the life of Charlotte, and you will see that this should not be a sad day, it should be a happy day. She would not want it to be a sad day. Our family, I don't know any other way to say it, we're just blessed with a sense of humor where we knew we had faith and we had trust in each other's love for one another. As a bunch of kids, when I was brought up in Charlotte, that family meant everything to us, and it still does. I cannot feel that knowing that Charlotte had gone to meet her Maker should be sad for us. That is why we should be rejoicing. When someone takes a trip to be with Jesus Christ, to be with her mom and daddy, Uncle Si, Aunt Eva, her family, all her friends that have gone before her, should not be a sad day. Now I will say something that somebody I know and love had a different twist on things. Was my grandpa. Grandpa was sitting, Uncle Glenn told me this story. This is back when Charlotte and I were kids. Grandpa was on the front porch, a new car pulls up, the salesman gets out wearing a new suit, comes up to the screen door, and he says, may I come in? Grandpa said, sure, come in. He said, Mr. Laird, I am with the so-and-so life insurance company. I'm going to sell you a life insurance policy for a $10,000 life insurance policy. Grandpa said, okay. What do you got? He said, look, this is a policy. He said, Mr. Laird, if you pass away, your family would be well taken care of. Your wife would be able to purchase everything she's always wanted. All of your girls would have new clothes, new shoes, new rings, new purses. Your son will have new trousers. He will have basically everything a boy would want. You would even be able to take this $10,000 and buy a new automobile for the family. He said, what do you think about that, Mr. Laird? Grandpa thought about it a minute. He said, well, son, I've thought about it, I've decided not to get it. He said, why? He said, I can't believe that. After all the fine things I told you that your family would be able to do after you die. He said, yeah, son, but when I go, I want it to be a sad day at my house. And I remember that. Because we were always, when we went to funerals, we were always sad and crying, but I look at it as a trip. I look at it as a right that you earn, and you will see people that you have not been able to see for years. And you will be at the right hand of God for eternity. And you will see the rest of us when we arrive. I want you to please bow your head with me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we're here today to celebrate the passing of Charlotte Ann, to pay our respects, and to say goodbye. Charlotte's with you now. We know that because over the years she has built up that personal relationship that allows her the right to be there. The personal relationship gives her the right to spend eternity with her mom and daddy on the side, and Eva, her aunts and uncles, and all of her friends who have gone before her. I want to read your words from Isaiah that you said we hold to be true. Isaiah 42:16 says, I will lead the blind by ways they have not known. Along unfamiliar paths I will guide them. I will turn the darkness into light before them and make the rough places smooth. These are the things I will do. I will not forsake them. You go on, Lord, to say in Isaiah 43:1-3, fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name, you are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, And when you pass the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. For I am the Lord, your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I asked the Lord to put his arms around Charlotte's two sons, Mark and Michael, her sister Eva Carolyn, brother Cyrus. I know, Lord, that they will grieve. They have a right to grieve. But knowing Charlotte Ann is with you, should, Lord, give them comfort. Amen. Charlotte Ann Morrison was 67 years old, passed away on Saturday, December the 18th, 2010, in Nashville, Tennessee, where she had made her home for the past 28 years. Charlotte was born in Shreveport, Louisiana on February the 5th, 1943, to the late Cyrus M. and Eva Laird Morrison. She grew up on a farm in Robson, Louisiana, where she enjoyed horseback riding and raising pet pigs. She graduated from Byrd High School in 1961, where she played drums in the Byrd Marching Band and marched in the 1960 Rose Bowl Parade. Her passion for drums began when she was 12 years old and continued throughout her life. She took drum lessons from Eddie Kozak in Shreveport. After graduation from high school, she spent 2 years at Northwestern State College in Natchitoches, Louisiana, majoring in music. In mid-60s, Charlotte toured all over the United States, Greenland, and Iceland, performing in the Gene Valley Western Band. In the 70s and early 80s, Charlotte performed with various musical groups as a singer and drummer in the Shreveport-Bossier area. After her move to Nashville in the mid-80s, Charlotte began a professional career in the health claims industry. Although successful in healthcare, she never left her musical roots behind. While in Nashville, Charlotte performed and toured with several gospel groups for many years, including the Voices of Nashville and the Sons of Grace. Charlotte deeply loved performing in the gospel circuit and made many lifelong friends during that time. In the last years of her life, Charlotte asked for work for AAA road service, sending rescue to those in need. Charlotte was a very giving and supportive person to anyone in need, both in her professional and personal life. Charlotte also enjoyed song and poetry, writing, as well as cooking, painting, and various craft works. Charlotte always had a very deep love for friends and family and followed a Christian way of life. Survived by and left to cherish her memory are her sons, Mark Anderson of Nashville and Michael Nauman of Austin, Texas, her sister Eva Harrington of Vienna, Virginia, a brother Cyrus Morrison Jr. of Shreveport, Louisiana, and a host of other family members and friends that love and will miss her smile, sense of humor, and laughter very much. Charlotte was a gifted person. She wrote songs, wrote poems, and I said earlier, Charlotte prepared for this day. She wrote poems that she wanted read that were years ago written for now and here, for you to hear, on how she felt about life. One of them she wrote June the 12th, 2006, I'm going to read to you, called The Gardens of Heaven. Upon my passing from this earth, interment will be in the gardens of heaven. At the end of this long life journey, my soul will cross over Jordan and walk barefoot in the cool sand of the long winding roads strewed with flower petals from God's gardens. The sun is setting low and the light grows dim. As I walk through the dark shadows and around the bend in the road, I I see the soft, shining glow of the majestic gates of pearl. There will be no need to knock, as there is already a reservation in my name. There to greet me will be my Heavenly Father and a host of family, friends, loved ones, and neighbors from long ago. There I will rest finally and live in peace eternal. Now, if you didn't know Charlotte and can't remember a lot about Charlotte because she moved away so long ago, before we leave here today, you're going to know Charlotte. You're going to feel like she never left. You're going to feel like she's always loved you. We've always loved her. But I want you to get some personal insight in Charlotte. She wrote a list of things I love. Something we should all do. Something we should do. Sit down and look at them and see if our lives are going in the right direction. Charlotte wrote this on March 11, 2007. It's called Things I Love. These are the things she loved. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. A friend who sees my soul and understands. The smell of daffodils, the beauty of a sunrise and sunset, the sounds of birds singing after a storm, the sound of rain, thunder and lightning from a dry, secure place, the sound of a train whistle as it passes in the night, the smell of Thanksgiving dinner being cooked on an old stove, the feel of a bed when your tired bones are aching, the smile of a stranger when you need it the most, the taste of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, the smoothness of ice cream after a fractured day, a cold drink of water on a hot day. To hear the words "I love you" from someone that you know really means it. To have the warmth of an old Afghan spread across my bed. To crackle and smell the wood-burning fireplace. Roasting wieners and marshmallows on an open fire. Praying to the Heavenly Father and feeling His arms around me. Stories being told by old family members. The comical antics of puppies and kittens. The smell of saddles and horses after a ride. The feel of a good horse beneath me. Playing drums in a band with good musicians. Inside stories told by singers and musicians. Dreams that are pleasant and don't make you feel afraid. A good bed that cradles you while you sleep. 3 pillows. The third one to wrap your arms around. A movie that makes you laugh out loud. Helping a fellow human being that really needs you just because you can. A good song, the taste of a sweet watermelon. Opening the Bible to a verse that fills my soul with comfort. The smell of coffee brewing. Watching leaves fall in the autumn. The sound of crickets on summer nights. The aroma of honeysuckle views. Vines. Snow ice cream. Serenity and peace of mind. The sound of quiet and stillness. A cool breeze on a sultry day, a good pair of shoes that make your feet happy, a good doctor, being with people I care about and knowing they care about me, the relief of victory after one of life's struggles. A short checkout line. The glow of essence of a good scented candle. Sleeping late and getting out of bed only when I want to. And last, not having to be a slave to an alarm clock that jolts me from my sleep. You can see Charlotte's thoughts ranged, wide variety, but never lost touch with the common sense and the love of family and God. Mark, we'd like for you to come up here and please show the slide that you got started.
Did y'all all make the guest look outside? I see a few new folks have joined us since we started. In the back. And there's programs on the table over there. And be sure and take plenty of those. So while this is running, it's probably going to be a good time to sparks a memory that you have of her or a good story. Let's share it with each other. We'll just keep this running through the rest of the service. These are just pictures that are in random order, not any chronological fashion. We'll just let that run. Thank you, Larry, for speaking. She was playing around with the camera on that.
It's hard to stay depressed with scenes like that.
Of course, if it's a band shot, she's always behind the drum. I don't know if, while we're watching these, if everybody's met Michael, my brother. He's here in the audience. I had some high-cut dresses back then, didn't I?
When?
Yeah, you can't tell it today.
That's what she was like the first time I saw her.
Really? Savannah, Georgia.
Well, they ever fall.
Trespassing. Yeah. All stressed out, no one to choke. You see that?
See those Afghans behind me?
Oh yeah, every room, every chair, every outlet has an Afghan.
I tell you,
That was Christmas Eve on that. Like, what's that movie, All I Need?
Yeah.
He keeps tracking stuff. The horse in the dining room. One of her good friends in Nashville. Back with the band. anybody? You don't have to come up here, you can just tell them where you sit.
No stories about Charlotte? I'll tell you a story about Charlotte. I won't come up there. I think these pictures should draw a lot of memories from everybody. I kind of get off and get in on a sad note, but Charlotte had a good life. I remember in the back room at A. Hebert when Charlotte first started playing the drums. She had saved her money and bought one of those little machines that moved like this so it could keep rhythm. And she would sit there and play with those drums, keeping rhythm. Of course, Artie and I would go back there and sit with her all the time. She was just mesmerized, with not much company at all, watching that. Metronome. To keep the rhythm. And she taught Artie and I, that was when Ray Charles first came out, and she taught Artie and I to play on the guitar, that whatever, I can't even remember now. The first song Ray Charles came out with, and we could play that part. We could not move forward with our career, but that was the only part we played. And she played that part, she taught us that, I think, so we would have something to do what she said to play with the drums. Now, I saw a picture in here by a horse in the living room with far outshadows what I was going to say in the obituary about raising pigs. So, honestly, after the horse show, my pig story don't fly. So I'm not going to raise that. But I remember as a kid, we were all brought up with like a movement of loads. From Grandma's house to our house on the highway to Aunt Everett's house. And we all moved in one big circle. Charlotte was born on the 5th. I was on February. I was born on the 3rd. What really hurt me and crippled me from what I thought about as a small child, we had a ping pong table on an old porch at our house, and they would come over and want to have Charlotte's party with my party. Well, I didn't like that because that stole the crowd from me. And it knocked both me and Charlotte out of another party to go to. Because if she was at my house, we're having one party, it's over with. But if I could have my party, then 2 or 3 days later, we could rush down Aunt Everett's and have another party. And I remember that about Charlotte. I remember the ghost story that Charlotte would tell that would cripple me and damage me as a child. And I was telling Aunt Billy about that the other night at her house. And she told me the whole story, the way it was supposed to go, a ghost story, and she knew it. So it was really something that must have went in a big circle in our family, but it hurt me. It hurt me. And another little memory, you know how you have flashbacks? I remember walking in the house one time, and walking into Aunt Everett's house off the back porch into the door, and Everett Carolyn was there, and I told her we just come from the show, and she asked what it was, and I said it was the cuss of the mummy. And she said, cuss of the mummy. And she said, you mean curse? Well, it didn't matter. It didn't mean nothing. And I just remember falling out and just dying laughing because I had it wrong. And with all the kids that was in that group, I think the family had those kids and staggered them for the purpose simply of having hand-me-down clothes. Because they would start with the boys and it would come right on down. And it would come past me, and if it made it, it would go to Randy and Alan. And you know, I always tell the story about getting a pair of, we call them step-ins. Step-ins. We had step-ins. I got a pair for Jerry Kennedy, and the only thing you could step in was some elastic. Just pull up. There was absolutely nothing left in them. And I'm sure that was Mommy sending those to me. But we had a good time as kids. We really did. Charlotte was very allergic, Everett Carolyn was, kind of lotion. And even Carolyn, I understand, even went to the hospital for it. So, Charlotte had a good life. Can't have any complaints. She has another poem I'm going to read to you when we're through. And it's going to say goodbye to you. And then we all need to drop it. We're going to grieve. We have a right to grieve. Nobody take away our right to grieve. We'll grieve when we want to. Always have as a family, do it again. But I think we're all going to feel better about it. We're all going to feel better about Charlotte. Because what? You're doing what she wants to do. What else can you ask for in life? So I think a lot of, I'm not going to say we need to straighten up and fly right. I heard that all my life, straighten up and fly right. I told Mike and Mark, I think one thing that's wrong with me now is Mama turning around, always hollering in my face, saying, "Don't you get smart." By God, I come through. I think things like that cripple a lot. And then there was a saying in that family was, and I remember it being party, Mama taking it to go Tri-State Hospital. She'd turn around. Mama had a way to talk where it looked at the people around her like she was smiling. But she was saying, "Are you?" And she would turn around to me and Hardy. We'd always get this talk before we went into any place where people were involved. And she would say, "When we get in there," you just smile and say, "Y'all better act like you got good sense." Right? Do that. How long is it going to take? But we just had a good life as kids. We all run in a group. We all appreciated one another. We all went to the show in Cedar Grove every Saturday. And Daddy would take us up there in an old 51 blue Chevrolet pickup. We'd all pile in the back seat, in the back. Go to the show, cost me 13 cents to get in. And I don't think those days will ever come back anymore. Playing in the cotton field, running through the chicken pen, carrying watermelons for Grandpa. Grandpa would always, he was one of these that he would get us kids to go with him to take a watermelon. All of us have done this. To get a watermelon out of the back of his truck when he went to see the doctor. And we would walk in, the place would be packed. And he would walk up to the desk and tell them who he was. We'd have a watermelon over his shoulder. And they would say, "Well, just go on back, Mr. Blair, and give it to the doctor." Well, we'd go back there. The doctor would have to come out from a dying patient. But we're standing there with watermelons. And when we got ready to go, Grandpa would always say, "Look, Doc, while I'm here, think you can check the heart." I remember that I get embarrassed as a kid. Because the doctor would have to stop, check Grandpa's heart. What could he say? We'd load those melons back, be gone in a heartbeat. We'd be out of there with our melons. But we used to bust watermelons, take the heart out, eat heart. Grandpa figured that out quick. We'd have to eat the whole thing. Rather than 2 hearts, we'd have to eat 1 heart, drain the rind and die. But I invite any of you, tell something you know about Charlotte. If you deserve it, let's sit here and get all the benefit we can out of saying goodbye to somebody. When you stand out by the bus or you stand at the plane waving them goodbye, you don't wave them cussing. You hope they have a good trip. And she is on a eternal, long-lasting, gracious, and good journey.
Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
If you stand up and talk,
Charlotte had a fantastic sense of humor. She would get us around the table for old aunts.
I saw that in the memory.
Yeah, and she would, of course, go us home to tell our tales. We were always of something else.
Yeah.
Weird, all.
somebody else.
My son and I went out to visit Charlotte one day, and my son kept asking, and Charlotte, will you play the drums? And there was no drums there. Her drums were there. And he asked her again, I said, "Bring, behave yourself, naturally, and behave." And Charlotte said, didn't say a word, she just went into the back and started bringing the drums out. She played the drums for my son. She's a marvelous person.
Kind of person she was. Thank you for sharing that with us. Anyone else?
I remember the drums too. I go back there and just stare at it because I was so impressed. And I remember the old metronome.
Yeah. The methadone.
Yeah. I was fascinated with that whole battle, you know. But every time I see those drums, it's like, I might even hit it with that. But, and I remember the laugh. You always had that laugh. It was calm, the laugh. That's what I remember the most of.
You remember back in the room, the wood was made of 90 pine on the wall?
Yeah.
And you remember, as you step, look over the door, that Elvis Presley,
Yeah.
that guitar in sequence?
Yeah.
It's still there, it's just
Is it?
painted over, yeah.
Really?
It's still there.
Now, I remember when she went to see Elvis at the downtown, she wore, what do you call it, poodle dress?
Yes.
Poodle dress. I can still see her in that thing, just like this. Really? But in my mind as a kid, I thought, well, Charlotte's gonna go have breakfast with Elvis. Charlotte, but I understand there were 50,000 people there to see Elvis. And it really disappointed me that Charlotte didn't have a personal invitation from the way Aunt Eber made it sound. All of you just should remember Charlotte loved all of us. Charlotte was a member of our family. She was taken care of and treated as a member of our family as she was. We all enjoy her, and we'll see her someday. She hadn't gotten rid of us. Thank you, Mark, for allowing me to talk.
Thank you for talking.
I couldn't let a crowd this big get by me.
Did you see your picture in this slideshow yet?
No, Mom, there?
You're in here.
You know, I told you the other night at meetings I held, I was up there one time talking, and I was scared it was gonna happen here. I was at a Teamsters Union meeting talking, and a guy went to sleep on me. And he was sitting over there asleep, it made me so mad. I pointed at his buddy the other day, reach over there and slap him and wake him up. And that guy said, you slap him, you put him to sleep. It was a rough job. That's a big area. That's the couch at our house, and me and Marty right behind it, and I forgot that old dog thing. That's at Aunt Ingrid's house, in that old white fence.
That's Ricky Nelson, and something, who is that girl that jumped in the way?
Was that Ricky Nelson? Really?
Who was that?
I think that's my cousin Linda was the other girl in the picture. And I think Charlotte, that's my cousin, yeah, in front there. And I think maybe Charlotte got some of her photos from her mother. I can remember her mother always saying, laugh, the world laughs with you, weep and weep alone. So we stand over various words, and I cannot remember her name, but she used to say that when we went out. And I remember Charlotte when she took
Mark, that was a different horse in the living room. So there have been two horses in the living room.
Well, what about the horses in the living room? Do I know that?
Well, Jackie would know. Jackie-
Well, we used to take her, and I think that's her little filly that she's with before. We took it in the back door one time, and, we had her, she was just young, we had her behind the door, and her mother was in the living room. Actually, we were in, I think that was the dining room, because her mother was in the front room. And, she said, "Do y'all have that horse in the house?" And we were standing in front of the horse. And we said, no. Charlotte says, no, no. But she knew we were, because you know you could hear the horse coming across the kitchen.
Well, she could hear it clumping through the.
Mark, Charlotte bought me this, and I'll stand up so y'all
Stop
can
it
see it.
now, stop. Please, stop. Now, this is Jerry.
Can't see it.
Jerry, Charlotte, Grandma, Martha.
Jerry Barber, Charlotte.
We were,
You look at the cake on that table.
Isn't that an Eva's house? With the ball maker?
I think somebody had to back
She
you.
went back and took it off the chain. She just bought it at,
Probably, that's the one that goes to the bedroom.
Yeah.
yeah. Cambridge on
Oh,
And you know, I even sat on the telephone, you do that needlework and watch television, and if you missed a stick, you'd back up and catch it and you'd start over again and never miss a lick. And still, everything always get it.
Well, that's why I like burnt food to this day, because she started it.
That's true.
Raised all her children on burnt food.
You bet.
They go and talk on the phone.
You bet.
And then so it got passed on to me to like a brown topping and everything.
Yeah. Burnt food brings back old memories, huh? But when you went to one of the sisters' houses, there was always food. I remember that as a kid, it was always food. Well, you gotta look at it, there's always food.
And you were telling me last night, Billy, about keeping her as a baby. When she was born, yeah. And making her a cradle out of 2 chairs.
Mom says she remembers putting me and Charlotte in the same bathtub. We all bathed in the same bathwater. But she remembered bathing us together when we were little. And that was on Saturday.
And everybody had the picture made on that table.
I don't say that was a day when we all got together.
They probably.
Oh, that was just me.
I think even I have my picture on that.
Sure, right.
Yeah,
I don't know what studio it is, where it is.
you just sit outside of that
I
hot.
didn't do wash out there with.
There she is.
Laying on the lawn.
Well, even on the next election,
Oh, she is everybody in her sister's feet.
everybody like, Mark, you remember that? When we would come in from down in Florida, down in
black churches, and she really made fast friends with them, and they loved her. And it was always kind of funny, because I got to go with them on some of the performances, things that they did in the churches. Of course, you know, we would be the only white people there, and they were telling this at her memorial service last week in Nashville, some of these band members, and they were saying, and you hear people say, what's that white woman going to do? And she was walking out with the band, and she sat down and showed her what she played the drums. So everybody just always fell in love with her everywhere we went. And, the week that she passed away, a couple of days before she passed, she wanted me to get out the videotapes of some of those times when she was playing with the group. And she had one favorite song that she wanted me to play for I did. And I thought that would be fitting for us to play today on her way out. So I'm gonna stop the slideshow and see if I can get that to go. I can't see it down here. So we've got three things we're going to watch today. Well, this first one is going to be what I call her favorite song, one of her favorite songs. After we get done with that, it'll be one of her favorite moments of her on the drums with that group. And then lastly, it'll be one of her famous moments. And that's when she was on the Ellen DeGeneres show. they used to get them this little routine, the bass player and the singer, they do a little dance at the end. And they wanted her to do something. And they said, well, why don't you stand up at the end during your solo? She says, no, I can't do that. You know. This is the first time they talked her into it, and then they couldn't make her stop after every performance. And so this, I'll say, is one of her favorite moments, that she had me play this for as well. I really enjoyed it. Videotape all this. They're real live, everybody had a good time. It was just big fun. We go all over the stage, Tennessee, Kentucky, and everywhere else. I think this is a little town about 20 miles south of Nashville. This is Agaway Church, Philadelphia. song and favorite moment. And now we'll have one of her famous moments. She's had many. And not all of them are on tape either, I'm sure. Y'all have stories that I don't know about. Maybe I'll learn some today, I don't know. Let me get this one going. A few years back, Ellen DeGeneres on her TV show had a thing going where she wanted people to send in videotapes of them doing various things for a segment that she had called How Come You're Not on TV? So of course, when she saw that on TV, she's like, I've got to do this. Help me put together a video to send that up. This is what we sent. So we made it and mailed it off, and didn't hear anything for a few weeks, kind of forgot about it. And then one day, the local newspaper in Nashville, Tennessee, called her and said, well, we hear you're going to be on television. She said, I am. That's how she learned she was going to be on Ellen DeGeneres. So this is what happened.
So anyway, we started a new segment there are people out there with a lot of different types of talent, and so we want to show videotapes of our viewers performing different unique talents, and so we started a segment called How Come You're Not on TV? Here's somebody who's multi-talented. This is Charlotte Morrison from Nashville, Tennessee. And no, it's not just one talent. She sends us a tape, and she's got several talents on here. Just take a look.
That was their appearance on the Ellen Show. Always looking for something like that to get into. And I'm sure you have stories across the decades that probably mirror that same personality. And I'd like to hear some. If you've thought of some while you've been watching us up here, come on and share it. You can sit where you are, you can stay there. Let's have some. Larry, if you want to come back. I know you've got one or two, I'm sure.
No, I'm not washed out. I mean, I have three of them.
You got one?
No, you don't have.
No, he does.
Oh, okay.
I'm Odell, I was married to that lady for about 7, 8 years. I remember one time, we were down on the river, shooting on a light line, looked at us, chill, real light low. We were down there shooting a good shot, and we were shooting cans over on the Red River. Out of us. And she shot 7 or 8 times in little light low. So I got the step and I loaded, she shot in the light load. The next one was a regular heavy load shell, and let me tell you, just about knocked her down. Of course, she got mad, but that's one of the things I remember about her, and she was hard-headed. Had a mind of her own. And that's a really good
You have,
Well, that's a good reason.
oh, now you can talk, somebody told me one time, it's a fact that Anyhow, statute of limitations certainly helps that. Phoebe?
Yeah, Alice said that is what.
Yeah, what?
Some rich society,
I,
some rich society there.
Yeah.
yeah.
They come, all the rich, all
Well, I remember going on down where Aunt Margaret lived, we had one big pine tree out front of me, and Gary and Charlotte, all of us had been back in the woods, and it was cold, and we were smoking vines. I don't know if anybody does that anymore, but that big old huge pine right out front of our house, somebody tried chopping it one time, and it filled up with that sap. I couldn't get my vine yet, so I shoved some straw up in there, stuck my head in with my vine, little mag, and it exploded. That sap, we had one tree out there, and it just had a mushroom cloud. And I remember Mama coming out, grabbing me with her left hand, and you know, I got both cartilage on my left knee. I could not bend it, I can't get nothing, but I'm damn sure it was weakened from her chasing me while I'm turning to the left and her hitting me on the side of that hill. We were all brought up that way. We was all brought up, and I'm gonna tell you why. I did a lot of research on this. There were so many of us that if I would come down to Charlotte and break something, Mama would have to beat me to where I'm darn near unconscious. And the reason was quite logical back then when you had that many kids. If one of them come to our house and broke something, you had to expect the same justice. They would have to get deep and they couldn't walk anymore, or you could show the rest of the sisters how we handle business over at our house. So if it didn't even take, you didn't do much, they would still beat you, you know? And we never could understand why it was that ration out such a punishment for something that simple. And then there's always a story that they told me about when I was a little kid, went down to Mr. Morrison, went down to visit Charlotte, and I let on the sides, pet bird out of the cage, and it disappeared. And of course, they beat me again, but the thing about it, Mr. Morrison loved that bird, and he was mad about the whole situation. And by coincidence, a few weeks later, they found me out cold under the swing set out in the yard. Now, it was set up to look like I fell out of the swing and hurt myself. But I think there should have been an investigation, because Mr. Marshall loved that bird. And just coincidence, I let him go, 2 weeks later, I'm out cold in the yard. But we did have a good life.
And the children were community property. Well, all the aunts did great. They were their mothers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If something happened to you, you go plead the case to another aunt. Yeah. All the aunts will take care of you, you know. Yeah, pass them around. You had to find out who this aunt was mad at. So if that's the one that they were mad at, you know what they always say, an enemy of yours is a friend of mine, or something like that. We all had that we played. It was the way we worked. We really enjoyed it. You want me to?
Saturdays and Sundays and holidays that y'all would play baseball in that field at my grandma's house, and it had big ruts in it, you know, but y'all all played baseball out there.
Yeah.
That was the group that was older than me and Kathleen and James and Lil Wayne.
Yeah,
It was
there was
y'all.
2 or 3
There were
groups.
sets.
Because I know the group ahead of us, which was Cyrus, even Carolyn and all them, pretty well looked down on our little.
Yeah, it was.
We did all the heavy work and got all the blame. They believed them. I remember when they used to take me to Willis Knighton so often to get so loved. It's got first name basis, you know, that Mom would get in there and total strangers would take sides with her. I don't feel like I've ever done nothing wrong with a kid, but I just do remember the faces of total strangers siding with Mama. So, you know. Well, we've been here, yes, baby.
I wanted to say, somebody played
don't think there'll ever be any family brought up like this anymore. The time has passed. Living in the country, the cotton fields, the cornfields, seeing everything grow. I don't think those days are going to come back. But before we close, I want to read a poem that was one of Charlotte's favorites, and actually one of Grandma's favorites. It says, it's The House by the Side of the Road. There are hermit souls that live withdrawn in the place of their self-content. There are souls like stars that dwell apart in a followless firmament. There are pioneer souls that blaze the paths where highways never ran. But let me live by the side of the road and be a friend to man. Let me live by the house by the side of the road where the race of men go by. The men who are good and the men who are bad, as good and as bad as I would not sit in the scorner's seat, nor hurl the cynic's ban. Let me live in the house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. I see from my house by the side of the road, by the side of the highway of life, the men who press with the ardor of hope, the men who are faint with strife. But I turn not away from their smiles and tears, both parts of an infinite plan. Let me live in a house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. I know there are brook-laden meadows ahead, the mountains of wearisome height, that the road passes on through the long afternoon and stretches away to the night. And still I rejoice when the travelers rejoice and weep with the strangers that mourn, nor live in my house by the side of the road like a man who dwells alone. Let me live by the house by the side of the road where the race of men go by. They are good, they are bad, they are weak, and they are strong, wise, foolish. So am I. Then why should I sit in the scorner's nest or hurl the cynic's ban? Let me live in the house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. This was written by Sam Walker Falls. It was Charlotte's favorite. And now our moment of memory coming to an end. I'm going to read a poem Charlotte wrote. I know I've read several, but this is by far one of the best ones from the heart of a person who tells you goodbye, it's over with. You have a right to grieve, but don't grieve for me. You might grieve because things are going to be different. They're going to be different. We know that. And that's what we're going to miss. But you can't grieve for a person who's gone ahead, a place where we're all going to go, and know that she was prepared and has been prepared. She calls this poem, or the heading she had given it was acceptance. Now you listen to this. I have got my leave. Bid me farewell, my brother. I bow to you and take my departure. I give back the keys to my door. I give up all claims to my house. I only ask for last kind words from you. We were neighbors for long, but I received more than I could give. Now the day has gone, and the lamp that lit my dark corner is out. A summons has come. I am ready for my journey. God bless you. Dee, would you close with prayer, please?
Almighty God, merciful and love, we thank you for this beautiful day, this beautiful place, and this beautiful occasion. We come to honor Charlotte's memory and celebrate her life. And she has no doubt
she's a priest. She's rejoicing with the angels, parents, grandparents, and she would not come back if she could, even though she loves us, she loves us still. And help us not to grieve too deep or too long, especially her sons. Father, we know where she is, we know what she did. And Charlotte's wish and prayer for all of us is that we be ready when our time comes. And we thank you for this day, for them, and for these people who come. We ask, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
That concludes our memorial. Anyone who would like to travel out to Little Size House, please do so. There's food, there's brisket, there's ham, what else, baby, sirloin? Try to draw a crowd.
All we have to do is pick it up.
So I hope to see all of you out there. Thank you very much for coming. I think it's the one that I was so happy to see it when he bought a new bike and come in and showed it to me, and next time I saw him, you could hear that front door click and trying to get it over the lights and stuff.
Probably.
Well, they got it. Everything's taken care of.
Well, they're I got to go see what y'all. Didn't do anything yesterday, so they're looking for you. Well, I'm pretty good to go. Well, I told Kathy about it Thursday, and she asked me about, well, we just need to sell some food. I said, well, I don't know anything. I haven't called him actually, but anyhow. He hadn't called anyhow. Yeah, sister. take every funeral, you ought to have a 4 mile long procession. Well, I go to a lot of deals, I mean, I never have been to one that I wish I could go. I went to one that had a cousin. People are going pretty fast. The baby one out of the bar, 3 or 4 years.
Is everybody going? Are y'all going down to the Morrison place?
Gotta do what you gotta do.
We are. And we're gonna go buy cars and food.
Whereabouts down in Texas you live, Austin?
I'm in Austin.
Austin, Texas.
See you. I was too far in the back. Fine, darling, you look good.
These boys to hear this story. Mark.
She says I need to check in there.
Like Louisiana for 23. Yeah, Mark said you had done.
She ran with your mom at the Rose Bowl parade. She did.
Really? Nice
Sharon
to
had,
meet you.
and she's got a story she should have told us.
Yeah, well, I should have got up, but I
You should
didn't.
have got up.
But when we were on the way to the Rose Bowl parade,
Uh-huh.
we were in the motel room,
Okay.
and
And I know,
Charlotte
and my
and
cousins that
me and
live
Mary
in
Ruth
the
Dennis
Austin area,
all lit
there,
up with
I'm not
smoking
sure what
cigarette
they're,
hiding out.
what
And here
area
come
they
one of the
live in.
bitches with the
Hey, Melissa, how you doing, girl?
Charlotte got 12 cents. She put her cigarette out in the lane.
Oh,
That would have been a
Mark
great
said just tell me your mama did.
She got
We
scared.
don't know.
She was a real lady.
Yeah, you actually dropped it on the floor.
I said, look,
We'll probably ride down there.
you just, no, I still got it. I turned around and looked, and there was something, I thought, what's she doing here?
He had a business there.
little did you know.
No,
the
I did
connections
not.
you had, right?
Isn't that weird when you did, your mother and I did, and all 3 bands the last couple of years.
Surprised in a town that
Everywhere we went places together. You had a pet bed.
Yeah, my home had to wait till
Did you ever go to the home place?
the girls an hour before to get to work.
Yes, back when we were kids, yeah, I guess that's what you're talking about, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Avon? Yeah.
Well, she had a party at our house, at one of the family parties.
We go on vacation, I don't drive to
And they're
down.
like, you know Charlotte Morrison, and he said, that's my
She
sister.
drives, I
And she
come
said,
forward
"Well,
with
you got nothing to
Oklahoma
do with
City,
it."
excuse me,
When I came down,
I
Because I was
said,
asking
I
if her
just
sister
drive.
too many cars.
because I thought, well, I might remember.
We
her
went to
tonight.
Dallas,
She
to
didn't.
the
She didn't
gallery,
come, she's in Virginia.
Well, she came.
and we come out about 4:35 o'clock and right into
About a week and a half.
Keegan Court on the freeways. And you'll get run over, you know, you're speeding at 50, they drive 70, 75.
No, Anna.
Freeway signs are deceiving if you don't know where you're going. So you be in this lane, it looks like that sign says this lane, but it's really this lane.
I couldn't believe
Them
this
people,
was in the
buddy,
paper
you're
Sunday.
stuck, you're in the wrong lane, you just gotta keep
I'm
on
glad you
going.
saw that.
So I am too. I should have. That's crazy. Right back to that. I'm thinking.
Too many cars.
they were supposed to drive friendly
Past
to
couple
Texas way or
years,
something.
and mostly the past maybe 6
And you've been up there about 17 years,
Other
you
than
said?
that, she's still having a good time.
Still beating them drums.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've been
Laughing, cutting up.
since around the time.
I never realized how much Charlotte was like on me. Or maybe it's because she got older, because they told me, because you look just like your mother. I guess we all start to look like our moms.
Even Michael.
Hank, he looks like Hank to me. Which is a good to see you too.
She said to go in there and ask for Tremaine, and I forgot that the Mill wasn't there, there was me saying, of course, so I just did this all.
You going out in the country?
A school friend
All
of
right, let me
hers
take a little bit.
roomed with her in the 1960 Rose Bowl
See
parade.
you in a little bit, son.
All right, y'all coming out there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. We're gonna break up, and we're gonna go change clothes, and we'll be out there.
I told Ellen, I said, I'm not hauling that stuff up there and then back. We have Betty with us.
I'm sending Emma something back.
Charlotte's first
We are. Bless her heart.
I'm the baby with him, and his dad's not here. Bye-bye, buddy. We'll see you in a little while.
See you later.
Well, that's Melissa, my brother's daughter. If you don't know if you remember her, she was the one that probably not.
Right.
Because I lost track of Charlotte. We graduated and she went her way out.
High school friend.
Hi, I'm
I
Mike.
worked in the Rose Bowl parade together.
Cool.
And roomed together.
Awesome.
Got in trouble together.
That's normal then. I'll get in trouble.
Your mom got so, they called, the chaperones came. There's three of us, Mary Ruth Dumas, myself, and your mom in this room. And the chaperone come by and knocked on my door, and we were all smoking.
Well, why didn't you tell that? That was, that would have been
Sure.
good.
And Charlotte got so upset, she put her cigarette out in her hand. She just clamped down on it and put it out in her hand.
She was
Scared her to death.
C.A. Dennis?
Yeah. It's 635-5650.
Should we start tearing down?
I'll tell her, call me. But knowing her, because I gave her the information last night.
Good night, Mom.
She made a call today and signed up.